obvious, to be expected, still with the way that she's able to throw her cams outside. I wonder if that gets utilized on a map like this, in spite of there being like some trees or some obstacles being removed from some maps that usually are in the competitive pool that could have been used in this way. No Valk, no Mira means that when we play upstairs on Cocktail, we have what we call Bolo spot. We just renamed bathroom to Bolo position. He's got ADSs, he's got one reinforcement, some kind of shield play, and if he's got a mirror window, that would make it impenetrable to get through, but it's not to be in this case. If they want to hold on to bathroom in that same way, they will have to do it without the assistance of the mirror.
Yeah, this time there's no interesting plays of having your sledge on the entry. We got good old-fashioned entry ops with Quartz on the Ash and Slippery on the Finka. A lot of utility to be used on the side of one shot. Make that 4 sets of nades as well as those breaching rounds in the back pocket of Quartz. Definitely interesting, as you would like to think that they're going to go for a top-down. That's the most common take for a kitchen attack. However, with what one shot we're doing on Chalet, if there's any sort of precedent that we can take, that they kind of like to go direct. They don't like to deal with roams. They aren't really trying to play the game of TSM up towards the top floor. We might see a bakery direct.
Themselves a lot of options here on defense. There is an Echo in play as a smoke, so there will be a little bit more on-site operator positioning, at least in this case, if only from the op selection, unless someone wants to get frisky with a roam with one of those two, though I don't think that's going to happen. Which means Geo, Merc, and Bolo are all free to flex around a little bit if you feel like it. Merc on Jaeger also just seems right, by the way, in spite of what we've seen with Merc recently not being up to snuff, and also Jaeger taking some hits and nerfs. That just feels like both a comfort pick and a requirement, because the ADSs are still super strong.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, being able to destroy nades, which are arguably the best secondary gadget for defense, is always nice.
Yeah.
Always nice indeed. As the first air jab's going to come through, the bakery direct seems to be mounting on the side of one shot. Cut a couple of rotations and remove the player behind the bar.
North to south play. We start seeing these castle barricades get whipped open. You do still have the head holes opened inside prep wall. But it's a matter of whether Geo can get a kill if someone wants to move through what is now a pure rotate. And Chala with the bearing 9 out in his hand, still hiding back behind the fridge. He's going to get 1 or 2, perhaps only the 1, but still losing Quartz is a really nice way to get this one started. And Kilo off the back of it as well, but Slippery can still find a slight equalizer. No more Geo. There is a rotate possibility now through Bakery. Not having a Maverick is nice. You lost your hard breach, but still, TSM has given one shot the ability to get into sight through Bakery wall, assuming they can capitalize on this position, perhaps even clear Chala, and then move from there. He's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. He can't really move to back up. Someone can get him from prep. He'll still manage to take down Storms before the man's nade claims his life. So that's a nice 1-for-1 trade, but still only 2 members left up for one shot. TSM probably can just hold out now.
Yeah, the biggest thing will be, will Swalen get this kill onto Merc towards coat check? That will eliminate a massive cross angle that is being held by TSM right now, and equalize the man advantage. Those ADS is coming through, but the gun is just as lethal. Down goes Swalen. The refrag attempt is halfway done onto Merc. He'll be DB&O'd, and it's essentially just Bolo and Achieve, the SAS brothers, with some long-range angles and an attempted revive coming out, where TSM really want to confirm this round by any means necessary.
Yeah, don't leave anything to chance if you can get it, and Bolo will make sure that he gets that final kill and sends us into into round number 2. I still think One Shot's approach here was cool. They understood we don't have to worry about getting Bakery wall open, so let's just focus on prep. Once they get prep open, they're like, okay, we can get a little bit aggressive, we'll try and storm through. That doesn't work, so they just start picking off players inside Bakery or close to it, but they're losing bodies in the process. But they know, okay, we have Bakery, we have prep, what's our next objective? Coat check. They then put both of their players, one in reception and one trying to watch all the way up through what looked like wine door, or sorry, no, through that one side wall right by Harry Potter, to then kill him. They had all the steps in place. TSM simply had too many bodies in too many places, and One Shot couldn't watch every angle as they slowly kept on losing members.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing as well would be that initial flurry, and the initial rush was kind of interesting, to say the least. It was like they never droned prep.
Yeah.
And never saw that, yes, there was an Echo in there, just waiting, chomping at the bit to cut down a bunch of players sprinting through a rotate hole. You kind of got to worry about the player inside of the bakery first, which I guess would have been the idea, to attack him from multiple angles, from close as well as far, going through that rotate hole. But you also have to make sure that, yeah, there's nobody sitting close on the reinforcement holding a cross. That cuts off the small bake entry in that rotate hole right next to the castle barricade. A very strong position, and typically to be expected when that hold is employed on the defensive side.
Thought it was pretty good. TSM just kind of having to multitask a little bit. Chala having the hero plays inside prep. There were 2 players that had hero plays that just tried to stall out for as much time as they could. And at the end of the day, they had 3 kills from that one position and stalled out one shot's entire strategy from Bakery over. But we transition up into the top floor, and this is where I was curious to see if we will see a freezer/bathroom hard hold from someone on TSM, more specifically Bolo, but it doesn't seem as though that is exactly the play just yet. We will work with one-shot's drones here and tell you what's happening at the same time. Bathroom hold, not necessarily. They do still have the head holes open with the reinforcement, and the shield, presumably the Goyo shield, has been put in freezer for additional coverage from the rotate back to cocktail. So a little bit of rearranging here. It's the maze that TSM have decided to concoct. Freezer will be the single most pivotal part of this round if they're able to at least make sure it's not an adequate rotation spot or choke for TSM to frequently move through. But ADSs are about to start chewing through this utility, but that's a run-out attempt from Merc, and it gets met with a Claymore? Where did he die?
He jumped out white window and met his demise.
No.
An interesting play, trying to go 1-for-1 in a relatively safe jump out if there's no Claymore. But the biggest thing is that there was a Claymore, and that is very unfortunate for Merc, because now the man advantage, it's been handed to one shot for free. They haven't had to work for anything. In the rest of the position that they want to take, that's not going to be the case. You have a lot of shields, which sure, one of them has been removed from the sky like 2 nades for the price of a shield, but Quartz, he falls. Those breaching chart rounds in the back launcher of Quartz's Ash could have been very impactful, as there's still these long angles facilitated by the deployable shields of TSM that they're trying to utilize to completely cut off one-shot's entry.
Still trying to nade a little bit if possible, and now we'll start seeing some more of those toxic babes get utilized. There's only one in Shala's back pocket now. Might need to be a little conservative with that final one. And there's also still maybe one Goyo shield still left up, so still some things that One Shot need to be aware are still on the board before making this execute work. And Bolo, he's in that spot. He's got bathroom control, he's got a shield with head holes, and Slippery is aware of this. They need to work on this player. He might be out of position. Slippery definitely is, and Bolo is about to lock things down. One more player coming back through Cigar, but Swaylin will actually come off of that position instead and try to focus more towards Cocktail. It may be met with futility as Kilo is about to just swing right in towards Heaven. Swaylin gets down. That is perfectly telegraphed, and it's only blue in the kill feed. TSM get their 2nd in a row.
I can just imagine Kilo as he's swinging back, sees the Nitro land, and goes, no, 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 as he's trying to stop this
Here we go again.
But instead, TSM stalwart at the last half of the round, and the util game not being solved by one shot. Sure, this map is a little bit more defender-sided than we would say, but when you have an attacker-sided matchup on Chalet, go the defensive side, means both these teams are struggling on the attack, and with TSM being so rooted in their utility, kind of going back to the roots, this is a lot more of the TSM that we would expect on this map of Kafe.
Yeah, they need to lock this one in. They need to be stalwart. They cannot allow One Shot to get like rounds on attack if they can help it. If it's a 6-0 half, similar to the way it just demoralizes you like they did to Parabellum on Bank earlier in the day. Parabellum only had one opportunity to bring things back when halves switched over, and they didn't do it. One mistake cost them that entire map, and they were down in that series. If TSM can get as close to a 5-1, a 6-0 half, give themselves additional leverage for when they attack themselves, that we have map 3 on the cards, and that's exactly what they need in this moment. Just stall and stall and stall, or play aggressive. I mean, TSM is capable of playing suicide spots or death positions or moving into a room and not moving from it or rotating back late. They were originally one of the pioneers in North America for holding onto a room with their lives and just staying there until they died, more or less, or until the round ended.
Yeah, and with what they've done so far, it's just slight horizontal extensions into where One Shot want to go for, which, sure, maybe the entire take would have changed a lot more if a lot of those bar positions couldn't have been played, if, you know, the window player wasn't removed immediately. Quartz falling down early. And maybe also would have been different if Merc didn't immediately die on a Claymore. Maybe the entire defenses could have been completely different. But as these first two attacks have gone through on one shot, they haven't had a lot of success by any metric. Sure, first frag, maybe. That's a Claymore kill on a common jump out. Ever since then, they weren't able to destroy very many shields, using a lot of util to just take out a single one. And then, not being able to transition into any other pertinent areas on your attack. Never getting control of piano, never getting control of Nubao, never getting control of anything at all was such a struggle in round 2, and now they're going to have to push into a very similar take up top if they want to go for the vertical pressure to properly utilize Storms as utility.
So far, One Shot have already taken control of what just seems to be red stairs, and Kilo is going to try, with the use of the Sedix Kairos, to clear out anyone playing around Bathroom, which in this case is still Bolo, but it seems as though, for the moment, he is saved by said Mute Jammer, so he will not be cleared from that spot. You have to know that the X-Kairos pellets didn't go off, but Quartz will open up with another frag, or the first frag, technically, the Claymore kill from last round doesn't technically count, but then will still go in his back pocket as an entry frag. No more achieved. So part of that roam game being dismantled as well as Merc, but still, at the very least, Bolo will still answer back with one. Chala back down towards the bomb site, and Bolo is going to hold on to top floor essentially by his lonesome.
Yeah, a lot of the push is potentially rotating down towards Train. Quartz making sure the rotation from White cannot be utilized by Bolo as the rest of his team, they're pushing on the horizontal. Inside of Train already has been a drone, and the boots of Kilo peering inside the bomb site, utilizing those long angles as now the footholds. That's going to be the main way that TSM can stop this push. Can they land the shots with the SMG-11? Maybe, but they're definitely going to be difficult.
Two players from TSM still holding onto the bomb site by themselves. Bolo, I think, could have a rotate back through Laundry if he chose to use it, but this is where One Shot has decided to ensnare, circle TSM, look for a weakness, try to exploit something. There's a nade, it's going to down Geo. It's regrettable, but they don't know that he's been down, so One Shot might still play this a little bit more passively, but Shala almost loses his life. He won't be able to revive Geo. He'll still try to come back up. He of course does see the blood trail. Another nade comes through. No! That's going to kill Quartz. This might be recoverable now because Kilo pulls off the plant. There might be a chance to still get Geo back up in this fight, but it will be post-plan oriented, and it will still put TSM into a bit of a corner. Swaylin and Bolo both get one down the staircase. Two for Swaylin. Bolo needs to find one more, but it might be in the Lion's hands. Oh my God! The headshot magically through the wall. Bolo saves it from certain defeat, and TSM are up with 3 rounds.
And just a flex on them, they said, hey, we did that with a sound bug. Who cares?
Wow! That's ridiculous!
You were talking about Bolo in that position upstairs over towards Bathroom, how impactful he is, how hard he is to clear.
Yeah.
And now we figured out what happens to One Shot when you don't clear him and you give him full top floor control. You give him the ability to go over towards Piano, get that flank, drop down the hatch, and destroy everything. A quad kill with the defuse on top. Amazing stuff.
Bolo
and absolutely punish that oversight from One Shot.
Well, TSM doing what they needed to do, essentially winning all of their rounds on one site rotation. They won't try for Jesse's proverbial world tour. Instead, they will go back to what they know worked, and they won this site pretty comfortably back in round number 1, in spite of, I think, One Shot maybe not droning as much as they should have to understand when they could and couldn't get aggressive. It was still TSM playing the safe game when they knew that they were up by several men and then just working from there. So they're still running off the high of that clutch. Bolo kind of gets a second to let his blood pressure go back
Bolo's
down.
8-0 right now.
He's
He needs to keep going. He needs to keep going.
He's dropping a donut, but the other way right now. Look at him. Oh, wait, Gio's actually dropping a donut. Never mind.
Hey, he hasn't needed to do anything. He can just, he's just as strong on camps.
He just had to be a distraction down his Jaeger. That's all he had to do.
Exactly. See? And now for the side of TSM, they're probably going to know that the Bakery Direct was the initial push from One Shot, and we've seen them bring this out many a times. They don't like going for full clears. Whether it be that they don't want to play the utility game, if there's any like ADSs or any power positions, a strong hold up top for the defensive side, or they just kind of only want to do as much as they need to. Interesting indeed, but there's also could always be a little bit of a change. A lot of window and repels up to the top side. It seems like with One Shot getting so absolutely obliterated on their direct take that they're going to have to completely change the game up.
Might be top floor clear down as 3 One Shot members are up on the roof looking for any utility to dislodge. fragment able to go right into Cigar and not knock out anything, despite there still being the potential for someone to be there. It's just a little bit of interesting droning on One Shot's part. But they need to understand that there's no one situated up on top, which is usually pretty standard. You don't want to devote some defensive utility or players too far away from the bomb site. So they will have this top floor whenever they choose to claim it. And it does appear as though everyone on TSM either has a quick rotate back downstairs or is already on the bomb site, but they are stretched out in a bit of a spider's web. The VIP hold still standard for this site. 2 players back towards Restaurant who are able to make this work out, and a yokai has also been placed inside Restaurant, so unless that gets dealt with, there will be additional intel for when One Shot eventually make their push.
Yeah, and whether or not they push from the back or push from the front, it's kind of a pick your own poison. We typically see with defensive setups that grow both directions that one's usually not strong enough to hold forward a full push. But if we've seen any evidence before of One Shot going for a full frontside take and it failing, it seems like for TSM, it's going to work regardless. The vertical pressure, it's mounting as Storm's going to drop the hammer. Make sure that areas like G1 and G2, those first kitchen grills, those cannot be played if the plant is going to come over towards one of those areas. There's not going to be a defender just ratting out in the corner, just trigger disciplining. Instead, it'll have to be a yokai drone or a toxic babe canister or a nitro to stop that plant, or just good old-fashioned bullets.
These crossfires are going to be interesting. There's one player on bar who's able to swing back around towards the VIP in the event that a Chief gets smoked playing the smoke. So if someone wants to make an approach in, TSM are going to have all these angles locked down, and One Shot will simply need to win their gunfights. They're about to enter the Lion's Den as they haven't dislodged anything notable or even done that much damage. They've done no damage so far to TSM's entire health pool. Now here comes one Toxic Babe in, one Storm back inside. That's going to be Diffuser down. Geo pulls out the Super Shorty and finds 2. Is there an equalizer from One Shot back towards VIP? So far, no. Course needs to find Achieved, and he still can't even manage that. Merc has been downed, but again, it comes back down on Storms and Soylent. Diffuser has been retrieved. They may be able to pull this one off, but again, a Mossberg shot. It's just down to Storms. VIP wasn't cleared. Storms can't get another kill on the back end of it, and TSM 4 straight.
Yep, TSM, time and time again, looking so incredibly strong on this map of Kafe. I wonder if we accidentally typed the wrong map bans and maybe One Shot was the one to pick Chalet and TSM were the ones to pick Kafe. But this looks like the TSM that we know and we love, the SI last year form on Kafe.
I don't want to say they're
crazy.
back.
Maybe. This is a tentative. They might be back. However, we're going to have to see what their attacks bring forward, because at the end of the day, you can say all this praise towards TSM and all this, oh no, One Shot aren't playing that well, but it is a defender-sided map after all, and those attacking rounds are significantly more difficult.
Still, though, this roll is something that doesn't really seem as though it can be slowed. They're trying. One Shot have some good ideas, but in that round, nothing was out of place. Up until probably like 45 seconds or so, VIP was still up. One player holding bottom round stairs was still up. The yokai inside Restaurant was still there. This might end up coming back to the thing we've been a little worried about for One Shot, is just overall utility clear on a map as massive as Kafe. Even though they like it and have found success on it, like before at a CL level and a qualifier level, I'm worried if TSM simply have too many factors working against One Shot on defense, too many things that have to be dealt with or destroyed, or at the very least minimized before going for a take. And I'm also concerned about their timing, because Hibana simply sprinted in to Kitchen off the hatch drop without droning first. I'm confused about how that's meant to work.
Yeah, there was an attempted gunfight, at least. They had a general idea that the good old castle of Geo was there.
They had a plan, it just wasn't a great plan.
It just wasn't that great of a plan, because Geo hits those headshots and hits those body shots with the stubby, going crazy. As, I mean, it was close enough range that it makes sense for Sawed Off to go that well.
Yeah.
But, speaking of well, the bathroom holds have been absolutely phenomenal for TSM, and it's coming out once again with a little bit of an extra caveat, an extension over towards Cigar this time, another layer of util for One Shot to try to solve.
It's another thing that they weren't able to deal with before. The mute jammer on that single bathroom panel meant that if Habana tried to get someone out of bathroom and just open up another hole. It still couldn't be dislodged. Instead, it's an Aruni holding bathroom, and there's also still play with that castle, meaning that, I mean, it's not like Sky's pioneered this, but somehow I remember Sky's playing this spot, like for SSG in particular, and ensuring that no one was able to get from Mausoleum, or at least from Cigar, into the rest of the site. He's got a wall to his back with an Aruni gate there, preventing it from being dislodged. So I like the setup up top, Achieved, and the rest of TSM probably just, like, One Shot has to do something here to their defensive setup and then start working against all of this util. Oh boy, is Shaw gonna get taken down? No, instead he'll ensure his survival, make sure the shotgun rings true, and again, TSM have man count up.
Yeah, Pojo really taught that man to believe in the shotgun.
He did.
And that had some range, but sure, he's going to fall, but not before Swaylin also gets knocked down. It's just Kilo and Quartz left alive with no map control to their name. At least they have the diffuser. That's a positive that we can all agree on. Yeah. Both these players, they're going up to the roof. They're trying to reconcile. They're trying to make some sort of plan because they have 2 times as many people that they need to take down in order to bring this round home and make sure that TSM doesn't get 5 in a row.
Yeah, this kind of momentum streak is still going to be a problem. Even if at this point they were to win round 6, it's going to be so many opportunities that TSM have to get it right even once on attack and ensure that they at minimum force OT, which even in that case they might not win. This game could already belong to TSM if One Shot don't prove over the next maybe 5 minutes or so that they've got what it takes to win a map that they selected and they favored very heavily at their own level of play. So we'll see how Quartz and Kilo want to take this one. Quartz 2 kills off the Skylight drop. Maybe this is a little bit more winnable. Kilo and Quartz have a chance to pull this one back, but Bolo's got to rotate all the way through Piano. They're being hunted. He's being looked for. Achieved. Down below, does he know where this is being planted? He doesn't have the right one. Bomb is planted instead right by the chassis, but Bolo's got the rotation up. It's on Kilo again. He was in this position before. Down's Achieved, but Bolo still rock solid. No one's about to go through this man. No one will win a round when he's in a position to clutch. Again, the rotations are king.
Can anybody kill this man?
No.
He is 10-0 right now. 2 defuses, going absolutely crazy. Sure, the rotation was long, but it was calculated. Yeah. He bided his time perfectly, destroyed the coverage, and had the final bomb planter pinned to the chassis where he was never going to miss those shots. The biggest thing, I thought that round could have been over when the pings were incorrect. They had the wrong plan. They tried to deny it. They played the retake in the 2v2, even though the man advantage went the side of TSM. All of a sudden, it was gone in the blink of an eye from the aggressive play of Quartz, but it all got mitigated because Bolo is the Lord and Savior of TSM right now.
It's not that you want to say that a map is won or lost because of the performance of one player, but right now, the fact that it's a 5-0 map and it's this dominant absolutely falls to Bolo. This man has not fallen once so far through this defense, and what I talked about before, I didn't know if we would see it, but the chance for TSM to win every round on defense now exists.
It does.
Incredible.
And sure, it's on the preferred side, but last time we saw this, I guess we didn't really see it. The preferred side of Bank being the attack, 6 rounds in a row on the attack for TSM, FTX against PB, Parabellum. They were able to just have that momentum and roll through. They got the 7-0, then right after it, business as usual on Oregon, even though that's a map that they struggled on. It seems like TSM, they've come forward. They've been polishing themselves. They've been ready for this event, but so has One Shot. That first map was indicative of a team that has been working. Their chalet has not been that strong before. Best I've ever seen them play on this map. However, Kafe, for TSM, seems to be a whole nother beast. I'm interested to see what Villa could be bringing to the table. But this map is also not over. I don't want to talk like they're in the grave.
Yeah. I think TSM, in spite of understanding they don't want to give too much away if they were to make the 6 Invitational, still want to ensure they get to the Invitational to begin with.
It's a pretty important first step.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to cross that one off first. And in this case, they're doing a fantastic job. One map off the board doesn't matter if you still go through and win the series. They would love to go to that grand final and have that format, selection, and the ban going their way. They want the upper bracket advantage if they can swing it. It just requires us to go to a map 3 and for them to claim that one as well. But don't get ahead of ourselves. We still have this half to finish out first. And One Shot need any source of life on Kafe right now that they are simply not finding.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing for TSM is that they've also been bringing different strats every time we go to a bomb site. And typically you have the saying of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But for TSM, nothing was broke, but they still want to change it, and they're still just putting out bangers strat after strat for this side. Bolo on those back stairs. He's going to take down Slippery. Down goes the Finka. Down goes the aggression, as well as the first Toxic Babe canister expended towards that area to slow down any refrag potential on the side of One Shot's attack. But the refrags aren't really there. There's nothing on the side of One Shot, no boots on the ground, no map control, as all of that is forfeited. Sure, Storms now gets back in, but with how extended of a hold this is, supplemented by reinforcements, castle barricades, and electro claws on those said reinforcements, it's going to be incredibly difficult. As sure, there's a nade comes in, down goes Geo, but there's only a minute left on the clock, Jacob. No vertical pressure has been expended. No castle barricades have been dropped, and nobody's been killed except Merc now. He whiffs that entire gunfight, but Bolo, he's still alive, finally dead.
Not the Deathless Demon anymore. He will be taken out of play, but still, lots of time wasted. This is still the best opportunity that One Shot have had in this game to get one round on the board. That's all they require. No one's going to get the diffuser just yet, but Chala, Nitrocell above, will get Swaylin taken and completely removed. In 30 seconds to go, this all of a sudden became way more even. Quartz wants to come back in through Hell Door. He'll try to push on to Reading. Storms upstairs is probably going to come back and join him, so he at the very least has some coverage while he goes for some planet coverage inside Reading. That seems to be the play. They're both positioned over there. Is someone going to go for a flank? No. Both members of TSM are both still close to A bomb site and Laundry. There might be a Nitro opportunity. He's just trying to bait it. It'll come right back over. It will go off, but it will not connect to anything. There may still be a chance to stop this, but instead, Quartz only on a couple of HP. Does he have a shot? Instead, Long Arms, Chala with the SMG-11. It's just Storms. TSM should be able to clutch this one out. Storms have to be incredibly careful with where he puts his body and his crosshair. Might be down to achieved. He'll try to go for the defuse. Is he going to bait off of it? Instead, Storms has to come back around on the swing. Instead, it does mean he claims both headshots. Are you for real? So close are TSM, and it's not to be.
Wow, really well played by Storms. I thought he was going to go on the world tour, a little bit of ring around the rosy over towards red and get the flank going, but all that really would have done would have been to open up the kind of can of worms that could have been a bulletproof cam or something like that on the side of TSM's defense of, hey guys, he's going to flank you. We know exactly where he is now. That wouldn't have been good. Instead, the potential bait, and now with Storms understanding that, hey, somebody's tapping the diffuser, I need to take my one, I need to take my isolated engagement. That's how you break down a man at disadvantage. And for One Shot, it does mean that they came out on top for one round. It's not fully dead yet. They were able to get a 5-1 defensive half on Chalet, so why can't they do it on a Kafe?
I mean, you would think, but here's the problem. The one round that they won is still one that was too close for comfort. It was their best advantage. That was the site where they had the most chances.
2 crazy clutches from Bolo.
Yeah, it's true. That's something you can't really account for. The man's 12-1. I was going to hope to use that Deathless Demon comment for as long as I could. It's just really, really good on Bolo's part for still propelling the rest of his team to this point. Not to say that Chala and Achieve were slouches on defense either if you look at their kill count, but right now, One Shot's only round victory has come from things being way too close for comfort, and TSM have now granted themselves at minimum, I'd say 3 chances to go through the rest of this map as scat-free as possible, win only 2 attacks, that's all they need, and we will see Villa play.
Yes, and Villa could be very, very interesting indeed. But as Storms is going to be setting up inside the Humidor as the Dapper Man Warden, he also creates a really interesting angle. I don't know if you necessarily caught it. Over towards the hatch, he doesn't break the hatch, but he breaks some of the beams so you can see through it. And it's a really cheeky angle if TSM haven't seen, can get an absolute freebie down below.
Can we see it? Yeah, so the hatch itself hasn't been broken.
It's just that far side. You can see that little
one
red
shot
90
from Storms will give him an escape route if he requires it, or he can use it down on the windows just below red in that hallway. So I do like this. I'm wondering if it'll get flushed out sooner rather than later, though, because it's mostly just flashes. I don't think he's got ADS coverage downstairs, which means if it's a nade, he'll probably meet his maker. So far, Geop will just try to work over red. There's some coverage down from the Flores drone to make sure that he can't get these X-Kairos off, and he won't be able to, so at least a red angle will be open. Their focus is pretty clear. TSM want the Warden out of Humidor. They don't want him to either drop down or rejoin his teammates, but they do have castle barricades to clear through, and this may take some time. Is Warden going to escape? No, he's going to hold firm and Scarf right now.
Yeah, and this is a position that if you can go 1-for-1, absolutely massive. And the kit definitely is there. SMG-12 in close proximity. It's an absolute bullet hose, and if one of them connects on the head, that's a deadly wound for any operator. The Rotero drone, it's going to remove him from that position. He's going to go right back in, but the window cut out from Achieve, that's so incredibly strong. Means that that first kill, even though it took about a minute and 40 seconds, does go the way of TSM, and they're going to start to get the momentum rolling. More drone work coming out. As next, this Rotero drone, it's meant for that shield inside a pixel. That'll be the next thing to go down. And hopefully, for Swaelin's case, he can shoot it, but doesn't seem to see it or hear it. And down goes his shield. He's also in a potential... What?
That didn't work.
What?
That didn't work. It was just out of range. That shield is going to remain in pixel after all. Wow. It wasn't even like a fuse timer thing. I think he had enough time to move it, but still, the shield will remain. He's just going to dump all of his flashes toward it, and they will all get ADS'd. Looking how TSM, they're moving from west to east. They're all about to converge on Piano if possible, and it finally does get removed, but he's still holding firm. Is Swaelin right in front of the hallway, but now they're starting to lose bodies. Swaelin needs at least one kill to make this defensive hold worth, and he'll get the headshot on Chala on the rappel. Will he move back away? Yes. Where's the cross? Instead, Bolo whipping through the window and Achieved all the way across the map finds another. It's just Quartz. The time wasted will not matter. He'll claim one with the red dot on the SMG-11, but now TSM on map point themselves.
Yeah, sure, that attack wasn't clean by any stretch of the imagination, but when your Rotero drone is right next to a shield and it doesn't blow it up, sometimes you got to get jiggy with it. Sometimes you got to repel a bathroom window, which is a repel I have not seen in forever. Bolo still comes out on top, almost like hitting a jump slide and just scooting right to the side past the bullets of poor Swaelin.
Take it left. Take it back now, y'all.
Exactly. Hit the cha-cha slide on him real smooth now. And now TSM, they're on match point. They have a massive lead to play with. And for one shot, they've got to find success on any bomb site, or else we are going to that decider with all the momentum in TSM's favor.
They need anything right now. Quite literally, anything. I think even though there were slight things that didn't go in TSM's favor, like, for example, wasting a minute and a half on one player before making hatch drops down red and not clearing pixel shield. Those things are minimal for a team like TSM.
Hey, maybe if that was a reading defense, it would have been like horrible. But as soon as you get like control, you do have a pathway into the bomb site. It's not horrible, but it's not ideal.
It's all situational based upon the site that you're playing, 100%. And I do think TSM, even though there were slight mistakes, they're a team that understands when to push, when to go. It's one guy calling the shots. They understand when they need to make that approach. This is looking like the TSM we needed to see from before. Chala back on Mav is exactly how this team operated and found success back in the stage 2 days that propelled them to the Mexico Major. And again, they are one round away from Villa and another step closer to SI through this upper bracket.
Yeah, and this matchup, I would also say, is One Shot aren't even playing bad. They aren't even playing bad. It's just TSM are playing so incredibly well. It's like One Shot is outclassed on this map. No shade towards them. This right here, Kafe Dostoevsky, seems to be the playhouse of Bolo. Still 13-1 and has an LMG with a whole lot of bullets. Can kill every single player on the enemy team like 5 times over.
There's some people who are like, oh, this meta in Rainbow Six isn't very interesting. Bro, I do enjoy watching people with 100-round mags and an LMG just start mowing people down. This is really entertaining to watch. But finally, here's something going the way of One Shot. An opening frag. Kilo taking down Geo, which means all of the hard breaching will fall upon Chala's shoulders if they wanted to push from Bakery. 3 men inside Bakery. Kilo trying to hold on if he can through these map holes that have been created by Chala. Bolo trying to hold up top. Is he going to reveal his head to Kilo's 1.5? It's so tantalizing. Who's going to find a kill first? It will be Kilo finding Merc. Bolo trying to swing back around through prep. He's looking through vertical and back towards the fridge at the same time, and it's just TSM losing bodies. Too many things to get a handle on. One Shot may have another round here.
Ooh, the nade almost goes through the hole, and Kilo takes a lot of damage from the long angle.
Wow.
But it'll be cleaned up immediately by the Mossberg above and to the side. Just poor Chala left in a very, very rough position. I think we can agree on that. He's going to nade through the hole. It's not going to find anybody for kills, but a little bit of damage over towards Quartz. Chala knows that there's a Mozzie. That's slippery. Sure, 1 in 7, but still going to hold on to that map control. And still with up above as another nade comes through. Storms has the deep angle all the way inside of Train. For the side of One Shot, they're not giving any opening towards Chala. He is a clutch master, and if you get him a little bit of momentum, could go into his favor, however, unlikely.
So close yet so far. TSM can allow this one to slip through their grasp. Again, not the end of the world because they do have a massive 5-round, now only 4-round buffer in which they just need one more attack, and they claim this one and head to map 3. That one did fall apart rather rapidly, though. And if it was any other team, I might be concerned by how quickly it got dismantled. But everyone on TSM still opted to play together, did something that I think some teams probably don't expect by opening up a whole bunch of those prep walls. Kilo is the kind of player who's going to challenge that.
Yes.
You won't just sit back in all the way from prep into the rest of kitchen without going for at least one cheeky challenge. And he does find the kill. Bolo is in there trying to go for the refrag swing. It isn't to be found. They kill Ash off rip. Kilo makes that man count a 5v3, and it all keeps falling down the staircase as a result.
And what hurts so much is how easily TSM were able to fend off One Shot's Bakery Direct. And then TSM does the very same thing.
What is it with CCS and Deja? Sorry.
On Deja Vu.
Crow, I know you're listening. Miss you, man.
But now, back upstairs. This was a bomb site that had initial success for One Shot, and maybe they were going to get a little bit of momentum, but as soon as TSM saw any sort of opening, their util game, it was on point. The proper burns, the proper Rotero usage, even though the Pixel one is a bit perplexing, I still give trust towards the Flores that they should have gotten that shield. But the Flores is no longer here. Instead, Shala bringing the Nomad, a different operator, no longer the Maverick, and now 6 grenades.
Cool with that.
There's 6 nades. I think we might be seeing a cocktail push.
I'm pretty sure, but only in the sense that there's not that many ways that you can take a cocktail attack in the first place. It's either you're pushing west to east from Piano and top red down into Cigar and planning maybe on Shaiko spot by the bar, or you're pushing cocktail, focusing on your window repels. Maybe one player pushes up white with only a little presence by Piano. Those are kind of the only real 2 things that you can do, and yet still, because of the way this map plays out, that's still something difficult to really handle on attack. Not that many avenues in, not that many angles to watch, not really all that much control that can be held from the windows, unless you're a team like TSM FTX, all of which can gun or clutch at a moment's notice.
Yes, and for One Shot, we can say the same testament. We saw that last map that they were able to pop off at any moment as well. Slippery down on the bottom side. He's going to get droned towards the bottom of the red staircase. And now with that cheeky angle all the way from the hatch, he can be cut down. He knows that, hey, I was going for a cheeky play. I'm going to go for a little bit of aggression, but I got droned out. I need to chill. He's going to rotate around where his flank comes through. That's another answer that needs to be questioned. Question that needs to be answered. I apologize.
I was going to say, I was trying to figure out where that one's going.
But Merc, he's taking a lot of damage. I think he might have naded himself, or the shotgun of Storms started to rain out. As he's still up inside this humidor. He's playing aggressive. The Mute Jammer over towards the top red wall, it's still alive. Even though it can be shot from that southernmost rappel that the Yana of Merc is on, it doesn't seem to have been done so.
Warden in that same spot as before will be a bit of a pain, but now he will be forced to move unless that castle barricade remains up, which it does, and he will instead rotate back down towards Reading. So TSM don't have nearly the same amount of map control as they did before. Is that 2 nays trying to take out 1 castle barricade, and it is met with nothing? That's problematic, though theoretically you could have achieved take all of Piano right now and simply use the sledgehammer on it, but they do have, nade control only to a certain extent. The only ones left up are Bolos. Merc and Achieved are both out of said utility, but they're now just going to worry about holding cross angles. I don't think they have taken Piano control yet because they may still be worried about a bathroom presence. There is someone who can rotate back from Freezer. It again is Storms, just playing with the mines a little bit, and this Pixel presence does, I believe, finally clear the shield. No, it doesn't. So much utility just on this shield. The Swayman about to sacrifice himself. A little bit of an interesting indicator, but instead he will get out unscathed, and the shield is still there. Bolo might not know that he's still lurking back around Pixel, but he will finally rotate around if there isn't somebody on that white rappel in order to quench him instead. So Bolo now has to push by his lonesome. Here comes Quartz. He's got a shotgun out as soon as someone makes the peek, but Swaywin still manages to get this one to work. Geo all alone by himself in Piano, but Chala wants to make impact across the map. It's a little bit disjointed now. Slippery on a run out, won't find anything, but it just falls on Merc, and he can't find a frag. It looks like One Shot starting to get some feet underneath him now.
Maybe, just maybe, and the biggest thing that you have to think is, as soon as we praise TSM's util usage, As soon as we did, we're like, oh, it's so good. Oh, my gosh.
It was really good, and then they wasted.
Then they couldn't break a castle barricade with nades, which, sure, that is arguably the hardest thing to do with nades because the hitboxes for the castle barricades are so dang finicky.
It's true.
But we saw that somebody had it gone.
And even that didn't work.
But
did it get burned by
it got
a Wire
burned. They were
ADS?
just,
That
they
was
were
what I
just
was looking
throwing
for, yeah.
everything because there was such little time, and that does make sense. But had the Gone been rotated over to that southernmost window, it would have been easy to get rid of the castle barricade instead of wasting a bunch of nades.
Yeah, slight desperation play. I'm not really concerned for that. Like, if it was an isolated play, but that's just continuing one-shot's momentum streak right now, which TSM can stall. Again, all they need is one round, and this one is over with. And at this point, I think they would kind of like to escape with this one without allowing one-shot to get back into the game too much. They'd rather go to Villa with one-shot a little down in the dumps because of their previous map performance. But there's a reason why one-shot picked this, and I do like it, even if it still seems like TSM's util game could be a little bit, I don't know, what's the key? Faster execution, opting to take control with a little bit more time left on the clock. It does seem like timing, at least for that top floor side, could have been the bane of their existence on both attacks.
Yeah, and sure, there's a lot of util to chew through on that Cigar side, the Humidor hold. There's a reason that a lot of teams employ it, because it's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
You have to break like 3 mute jammers to be able to do anything and drone out exactly what utility is there. There's 3 ADSs over towards Pixel, as well as a bunch of shields and castle barricades with the Rooney gates. So much stuff going on. It's a hard equation to solve. But when you're TSM, you're doing this for a living, you would expect them to be able to do that a little bit quicker. And sure, we saw them on their first attack come out and do it pretty well. Sure, a little bit slow, but at the end of the day, they had a dominant round win. But this time, when that castle barricade wasn't able to be cut, that's where things really went downhill. Too much utility was used, and to no effect. But now it's a completely different bomb site. This time, instead of on the top floor, it's just a little bit down below inside of Reading.
A little bit less to clear if you were worried about trying to take a bakery by doing a full 2-floor clear from above. Not to be in this case. They'll make themselves their own red rotate, and the drone game will begin. Again, TSM, first objective is to clear Swaywin out of Pixel with yet another shield, which has been the bane of their existence so far, but I have confidence they can do it this time. Look at that, plenty of time. That should absolutely secure it. Swaywin will move back out again, but he will retain said position at the top of the hallway, and he has another shield he can fall back on top white if push comes to shove. Bolo hasn't had a kill in, I think, a round, it seems like, and probably want him to keep that streak going and not stall out before the end so we can force a map 3. He'll be on Repel, as will his compatriot on the east side, and 2 coming from the west, top down. If they can secure what has been opened up by one-shot so far as these holes up above and perhaps even use them against them, they might be in a really good position to take a reading and try for a plant. But now their next objective, in spite of the Aruni getting pushed out of white, is the Jaeger inside Freezer.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for a reading attack is you only need about 35 to 40 seconds and a man advantage to win a round. That's about it, as well as top floor control, but that seems to be going into the favor of TSM as soon as they decide to just actually claim it. Unless the Nitro Cell game is absolutely crazy with only Storms having it, or Slippery getting mis-droned as Merc is gonna fall. Sure, in the meantime, Kilo fell, but Slippery is still alive and well. The refrag comes out too late from Chala. Down goes Merc, down goes Achieved, down goes a lot of utility. But at the end of the day, it's still not the end of the world for TSM. There's not a whole lot of util on the side of the defense. No toxic babe canisters, no nitros, no way to stop this plant, as well as with vertical pressure and Bolo rotating over towards the snow door, this plant can go down.
Will have to be hard and fast. Still some defensive pressure with these crossfires. Quartz is able to stop Geo, so Diffuser will have to get picked back up yet again. Quartz still holding this pillar spot. He hasn't been destroyed. He'll still come around. Swaywin can come up brown stairs, and we've got a game on our hands, Connor. Look at this.
Yeah, a missed drone that I didn't see. So I guess neither did TSM. They didn't see it coming, and Slippery went absolutely massive, absolutely discombobulating the TSM FTX attack to a point that they didn't know what was happening. And sure, even down inside a pillar, Quartz popped down a player, and then Bolo also still wasn't looking at him. The combo must have been absolutely hectic. So much craziness on the side of TSM, trying their very best to close out this half, close out this game, force the decider. And now the door has been slightly cracked for one shot. They have a chance to get back in this. If they go to overtime, if we see the 6-6, they stay on the defensive side.
Yep, they've also won every site they've gone to on defense in spite of losing Cocktail the first time. Every site in their rotation is one that they've found success on to some degree, at the very, very least. And TSM's proficiency on Kafe now getting called into question at least slightly because of the way that this attack so far has gone. Those slight mistakes in terms of that pixel shield and clearing like piano utility might be something that ends up being their downfall if One Shot managed to claw this bad boy back. They do still have a timeout in their back pocket if they were to use it after this round is over, which might just be where they need to use it if One Shot loses this one. Like, honestly, you could have either squad probably calling a timeout as soon as this one is done to just either close out the map in TSM's case or force overtime in One Shot's case. It can really go either way. This wasn't supposed to be this close. TSM are letting this one very, very slowly just get through their fingers.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is it's like a rock rolling down a hill. As soon as it starts getting going with the momentum, it becomes even more difficult to stop. And hopefully, for TSM's sake, they have enough experience, and they have been here before, that they know they can just take a deep breath and relax. But for One Shot, they're starting to get confident. We're starting to see some crazy plays come out. We're starting to see the kind of rat plays, hide inside a freezer, get misdroned, and capitalize on that perfectly. Understand that you had a massive hit over towards the sledge and over towards I believe Maverick was the first one to go down. Those are nade operators as well as the vertical pressure that you would employ going for your reading attack. That means the time wasn't in your favor, and they're going to have to force things. All of a sudden, a lot of players over towards Pillar, another aggressive position. And with Swaylin just kind of chilling on the top floor with this bomb site being all the way downstairs in the basement, he is fighting a roam clear. If he can manage to get misdroned, or manage to escape, or manage to get a 1-for-1 or something like that, could be nice. But as Slippery goes down first, Swaylin is still alive, and the Jackal has been brought by Merc, because TSM do not want to deal with another misdrone scenario.
I think it's a good call on their part, and Merc also having a really good gun that he can frag with whenever he feels like it. He's not really woken up in this one. He was TSM's top player on Chalet, but that honor is gone to Bolo, rightfully so, but you still want everyone on TSM to start acting to their potential, get as close to bomb sites as possible, find these kills, and the drone game now is working well, at least a little bit better. There's one drone ahead of Bolo. This play from Kilo might be a pain in the butt, but there isn't anybody who's situated on red by the hallway. Yeah,
and he understood that it's on concrete.
I think that's a lost C4. He can't use that anymore. But right now, everyone on TSM looks like they're oiled and ready to go. Achieved might want to start working on these holes in mining sooner rather than later if he can. Patch drop is available to TSM if they decide to use it, but so far it looks like they're just weighing their options a bit, seeing if they can't force One Shot into a corner before going for a push.
Yeah, with the vertical pressure coming out and a lot of C4s missing, unfortunately, for the side of One Shot, Achieved kind of has an easy path, especially when Kilo can get droned on the flank. He's not going to have to worry about anybody coming up behind him. All he has to worry about are the people below him as all this pressure is coming out. They also have Jackal pings over towards the extension and Kochek. Quartz is under a lot of pressure. More drones coming out as TSM are slowly building up for this hatch drop. Hectic execute.
He's got all of his toxic babes left in his back pocket as well, but Storm's will knock Achieve down. His work is kind of done. Bolo chucking a nade over. Quartz is technically still alive. The LMG is going to put him in the grave, though. Merc with a kill across the map. This one might be it. TSM might have their execute in and Villa secured, but can they get this one down and dusted? Swaywin holding the VIP cross. Diffuser's been planted. It's just Swaywin and Kilo. VIP's been claimed, and so is Kilo's life. Merc puts him away, and TSM are forcing a map 3. They will not say die.
Yeah, very, very close. As once again, we were believers in arguably that play from Bolo. I think that nade should have killed, and it would have been a very impressive one.
It should have,
That was what they call an air burst nade. It blew up right next to Quartz.